Good morning, children. Let's start our class with the reading of a picture story, Bamboo Curry. Before moving on to the story, let's get familiar with the new words. Mother in law, mother of one's wife. Santal, a tribal group. Delicious, very tasty. Chopping, making into pieces. Couple, husband and wife. Bridegroom, husband. Tender, not ripe. One day, the mother in law of a Santal bridegroom cooked a special dish for him when he visited her.
This curry is delicious. What is it?
The mother in law pointed at the bamboo door. Next morning, just as he was about to leave, he remembered that there was no bamboo in his village. So he removed the bamboo door and carrying it with him left for his home. On reaching his village, he told his wife.
Make curry with this bamboo doll.
She was shocked.
How can I make curry out of a bamboo doll?
Come, I'll help you by chopping up the bamboo.
He said. His wife boiled it and boiled it. Later, when her husband tasted it, he said,
It's too hard to eat. You don't know how to cook.
His wife added more water and boiled it and boiled it.
It's still too hard. I can't eat it.
The in-laws came to visit the young couple that evening. They all laughed at his foolishness. The mother-in-law said, Didn't you know the curry was made from bamboo shoot and not from a bamboo door? So here, children, what do you think as the reason for the failure in boiling the bamboo? The reason is that the bridegroom had taken the bamboo shoot that was so hard. He should have taken a tender bamboo shoot. Why did the bride fail to boil the bamboo shoot? The bride failed in boiling the bamboo shoot because she should have used a tender bamboo shoot instead of a hard one. Now let's do this. Complete the sentences meaningfully. Here you need to read the story and find out the missing words from the story. The bridegroom left with the door of his in-laws' house because it was made of bamboo and there was no bamboo in his village. Next one, the bridegroom was unable to have bamboo curry in the end because the bamboo shoot was so hard to eat. The next activity is word hunt. Fill in the blanks with the words from the story. The bridegroom went to visit his mother-in-law. The mother-in-law pointed at the bamboo door. He stayed the night with his in-laws. He carried the bamboo door back with him. The curry was made from bamboo shoots. Children, in the previous class you learned about nouns, pronouns and adjectives. A naming word, a word that is used instead of a noun is called a pronoun, and a word that qualifies a noun or a pronoun is called an adjective. Today let's learn about verbs and what is a verb? A verb is an action word. If you can do it, then it's a verb. If you are still finding it tricky, then try this. Think of the things that you have done this week. These are some of the actions that you might have done. Watched, slept, walked, sat, swam, ran, shouted, jumped, ate. So we can say that verbs are action words or doing words. Now about adverbs. Children, you have already seen the connection between a noun and an adjective. Likewise, can you find the connection between a verb and an adverb? The clue is it adds something to the verb as an adjective does to a noun. An adverb qualifies or describes a verb. It tells how an action is carried out. Let's see some examples for adverbs. Noisily, soundly, silently, angrily, carefully, excitedly, calmly. An adverb answers for the question how a verb is. How did you sleep? I slept soundly. How did you walk? I walked calmly. How did you sit? I sat quietly. How did you watch? I watched carefully. Some more examples. How did you run? I ran quickly. How did you shout? I shouted loudly. How did you write? I wrote neatly. How did you listen? I listened intently. So we can say that verbs are the words for things that I can do, I have done, or I'll do. And adverbs are words to explain how I did it. Usually the adverbs have an ly ending. Children, have you ever noticed that there are such words in dictionary which have two meanings? When such words are used as nouns, they'll have a meaning, and when they are used as verbs, they have another meaning. For example, when the word point is used as a noun, it means a dot in print or writing, or full stop, or a decimal, or the number you score in a game. When the word point is used as a verb, it means to show or call attention to something. Look up the following words in the dictionary. They may have more than one meaning. List these meanings. So here you need to find out the different meanings of ground, survey, scrap, sternly, and tempting. When the word ground is used as noun, it means earth's surface. We usually say the playground. Then when it is used as verb, it means to fix on a foundation. The next word is survey. When this word is used as noun, it means close examination of something, and when it is used as verb, it means to examine. Scrap, when used as noun, means piece, and when this word is used as a verb, it means to remove or clear out. The word stern can be used as a noun, an adjective, and an adverb. When it is used as noun, it means ship's hind part. Hind part means the back part. And when it is used as an adjective, it means strict. And when it is used as an adverb, it means strictly. Next, the word tempting can be used as an adjective and a verb. When it is used as an adjective, it means something which attracts. And when it is used as a verb, it means to attract. Now, children, are you familiar with the terms prefix and suffix? Prefix means fix something before. For example, if you add im to the root word pure, it will become impure, the opposite of pure. Here, you prefix the letters im to the word pure to make its opposite. Encircle, disconnect, unimportant are some of the examples. But in order to get the past form of the verb reach, you need to write ed at its end. Then you will get the word reached. Here, you are suffixing the letters ed to the end of the word reach. So, suffixing is fix something at the end. Here is an exercise. Make new words by adding or dropping a few letters from the root word. Then you will get the words like pounded, pounding, trying, larger, largest, newer, newest, tastiest, wiser, wisest, stared, staring, cleaned, cleaning, cleaner, cleanest. Among these words, the words tasty and clean can be suffixed by all these four group of letters ed, ing, er and est. Pay more attention to the words like tried, tasted, tasting, tastier, tastiest and staring. Children, have you ever heard the word syllable? You are familiar with the words like vowels and consonants, right? Okay, now let's learn about syllable. The word syllable, when it is used as a noun, it means a unit of pronunciation having one vowel sound with or without surrounding consonants, forming the whole or a part of a word. For example, there are 2 syllables in water and 3 in inferno. When the word syllable is used as a verb, it means pronounce a word or phrase clearly, syllable by syllable. For example, the word tiger is a 2-syllabic word and it should be pronounced as tiger. The word pilot is also a 2-syllabic word and it should be pronounced as pilot. Another 2-syllabic word is sandwich and it should be pronounced as sandwich. Carpet and picnic are also examples for 2-syllabic words. But basketball and banana are 3-syllabic words. Basketball should be pronounced as basketball and banana as banana. Here are some words. We can split those words into syllables.
Impatient, impatient,
It is pronounced as impatient, 3-syllabic word. Next is
delicious, delicious,
it is also a 3-syllabic word and it can be pronounced as delicious.
boiled, boiled,
Boil is a 2-syllabic word and it can be splitted as boiled.
chopped, chopped,
It's also a 2-syllabic word and can be pronounced as chopped.
bamboo, bamboo,
Bamboo, it's a 2-syllabic word.
began, began,
The word began is also a 2-syllabic word and it should be pronounced as began. Children, here in each splitted word you can see one vowel. So, syllables are formed based on the vowel sounds. Children, it's time for us to wind up the class. Bye. Take care.